What's up today, guys? I'm Kevin. This is Entertaining Entropy. Have you ever progressed through a game, gained some assets, some weapons, some items, you wanted to share it with your friends, even trade it? Some games don't even let you sell it to people in the in-game marketplace for the in-game currency. I'm going to show you how to use a project called DeFi Land and another project called Cardinal to actually start to rent out or borrow assets from other players. And these can be complete strangers or your friends. And there's a ton of different strategies on if you're more of a passive player, more of an active player, if you're new to it, if you're just starting, then you can ramp up or you can loan out things that you've had for a long time. So it really allows a lot of different avenues for not only financial strategies, but also gaming strategies to maximize your time and profit. So for those who aren't familiar, DeFi Land is a play-to-earn NFT-backed cryptocurrency game. Don't be afraid, because it's actually been designed for new players by giving a graphical representation of a farm and bringing you all these really cool little games that have complicated financial systems and crypto stuff going on in the back end. So what you're able to do is leg into this using the renting functionality from Cardinal to be able to borrow some of the things in small amounts, because purchasing an NFT can kind of be a big jump and kind of a big commitment as well. A lot of people are doing math to find out what the ROI is, and you don't want to have to go down that road. So you can make a smaller commitment by just biting off a little chunk, renting an NFT for a day, a week, and testing out what it's like and seeing what kind of returns you can get. There are also free-to-play versions of each of the DeFi Land games that you could try out, but what's nice is that there's different versions. Whether you're a passive player, you can try to use some of the animals, or more of an active player to actually use some of the guns, the fishing rods, and the harvesters, and the different mini games that you have in the actual games. What's nice about the renting is that if I'm a new player, I can get legged in, but I can also be an existing player trying to rent out to my friends. Maybe I'm going on vacation, or just renting out to complete strangers because I can't handle all the NFTs that I have, which has happened to me a bunch of times. When you're looking at these different schemes, there's reward rates that can typically be intimidating for new players. So I'll talk towards the end of this video about what different payouts I've seen and give you an estimate about what to expect on some of these things that you're doing. Alright guys, so here's the website, rent.cardinal.so, and here's where I can go to rent NFTs for a couple of different projects, but I'm just going to jump right down to DeFi Land. Here I can see two different sides of where I'm able to either rent NFTs or lend out the NFTs that I have. Let's start with renting NFTs, or I'm able to actually see a bunch that I can find really good value in, but this is up to the seller to make up the price, so let me give you a couple of tips and tricks on how to look through these. Initially start by thinking about your play style. So if I scroll down over here on the filters, I can see the NFT type will help me hone in on if I'm using animals for more of a passive play style, or something on the other end of the spectrum like guns, or I'm going to want more of an active play style for maximum rewards. Where I'm dialing in on these as well, you may also want to look at this little icon here that shows where the attributes stand. So a handle that's being advertised as a common, you'll notice isn't actually fully upgraded, so you're not going to get the full value out of that, and take that into consideration when you're looking at some of these prices. As you're looking at the tokens as well, this little icon is Solana, and that price may vary, so keep an eye on that. But I usually like to see things in Goldie, because this is what the payouts are for when I'm gaining rewards with this game. As I go to the other side, we can see here with the Manage tab, I can see all my NFTs that are listed. So if I wanted to pick one of these NFTs, I could rent it out for someone else to use, either my friends or some complete stranger. And here I could rent it out for a specific rate. This is for a max rental duration, but I can pick different hourly, weekly rates, and different coins and different rates here as I can have different payouts. I can also see a duration. This is typically what I use my rentals for, and renting it out for 1 Solana per day, 1 DFL per day, Goldie per day. You can also change some of these settings, allows you to have a lot more customization. I find this to be the easiest math. With the advanced settings, I can have this go on relisting, which means it's basically on autopilot that it keeps putting itself back up, and I really have to make sure I repair it because folks that are renting it aren't going to repair it, but other than that, I'm just raking in the cash. Here as well, I can list it for a private visibility, which is going to be just a link that I get, and it doesn't go on the public market, so I can share it with a friend as opposed to just having it go out there for anybody to get. Expiration is another one here that I can set the expiration date. The folks can just rent it as needed until that time. And we also have the manual setup as well here. Where I'm looking at these tabs, I can see which ones I've rented. So here's a fishing rod that I grabbed from this individual here. I got another 12 days left on it. And I can also see ones that I've rented out and how much time they have left on those. So here's some examples of the reward rates that I'm seeing from the different NFT types. What you're going to notice is that the reward stat, the attribute for reward, is going to be the biggest impact on all of these. Another big impact is going to be the energy, because it's going to impact the number of times that you can actually use this NFT when you're playing with it. And that energy rate will return to 100% every 24 hours. So if it's 8, you can use it 8 times per day, for example. In this example as well, you'll also notice that the game stat for the different NFT games, like the shooting range, the fishing rod, and the harvester, do have a big impact, more on the fishing rod and the shooting game than on the harvester. But the accessory is also going to be a big stat that impacts the animals, because that's going to be the feed rate. When you're feeding an animal, the increment at which it increases. When you're looking at the fishing rod, you have the reward stat, but you also have that bobble, that game stat, that's going to have bonuses added as you're playing. So it's going to have a big impact if you have a common versus something that's epic. So keep that in mind when you're actually calculating your reward rates. I would certainly recommend working your way up and starting with a smaller amount instead of going for that legendary on day one for a full month of rental. Why don't you try things out and start with some commons and see how things go and work your way up as it starts to exponentially pay out. So I hope you liked today's episode. Check out some of my episodes on my channel. I have a bunch of stuff that I'm going over. Tell me what you'd like to see in the comments or how I did, and hope to catch you next time. Have a great week.